Hermitcraft Season 10 live for Saturday, August 24th, 2024. Do. Welcome everyone to Saturday night. If you didn't know it, Saturday is where we do it right. We make sure that the VODs actually get saved by not playing music that might get copyright claimed. That's right. I've completely on my own. It's going to be fine. It is going to be A-okay. We're going to have a fantastic Saturday. Hope you're doing swell. Things are going to go particularly well because you're here, and I appreciate you. Setting the slow mode on the YouTube. Alrighty. We got folks already popping in the chat. Nom Master, Taco Squirrel, Ryfoid, Eline Avies Art, Anyway, just as a reminder, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. This is a viewer-supported stream. Let's get something on this abacus here. Boom. Okay. So, normally on Saturday night, we just do as much Moby Dick reading as possible. We also have to record an intro to this next episode. So we're going to start by turning on the recording. Hermitcraft Season 10, Episode 29, Segment Alpha, Take 1. Oh, wait. I realize this needs to be a voiceover segment. This is going to be a weird intro. This intro is going to have a time-lapse at the beginning. This is like legitimately going to be a weird intro. We need to go as high up as possible for this. And we need to face outward, like here-ish. And then we need me to be over there. Okay. And then we need to set our video settings for the render distance. If we turn that down to 2. Okay. So now it's like I'm in front of a green screen, right? So, oh, there's some trees down there. Well, you know what? We can... Okay, is there a taller thing that I can be on top of? Okay, so if I'm here, and I put the camera like that, and then I just stand over here. This is going real well, you guys. Super well. Oh my gosh. Okay. So from there, if I stand here and I talk, okay, great. We're going to take the helmet and the wings off. All right. So, yeah, so I'm blocking those trees there. We're going to put a marker in here. Howdy, y'all. Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. And today on the Hermitcraft server, we got some replay mod. No, wait, we're not going to say replay mod. Take 2. Howdy, y'all. Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. And today on the Hermitcraft server, we are knocking out some trees. But why? You might say, Joe, don't you have, like, mountains to remove and things like that? I technically do. However, I also need to keep in mind that sometimes there's low-hanging fruit on our project. And in this case, that low-hanging fruit happens to be trees. We can knock out a bunch of these trees and then start marking out where the pond is going to go. This pond isn't under a mountain. A bunch of the other stuff I wanted to work on next is under a mountain. We'll remove the mountain later. For right now, let's clear out the trees, get the spray pond in, and start making progress on the line of sight toward our water tower platform. Here we go. Time skip. Okay. So we're going to hit stop recording there. We're going to disconnect from the server real quick. Welcome, Gusty Gale. Hope you're doing particularly well. Okay. So this is going to be a whole thing. Okay, so I put the marker at the beginning of the segment, right? I should have done a clapper board or something. That was maybe a mistake. So we're going to start this at 40 seconds. And then we're going to hit play. And let me do a bunch of talking. I should have actually done a clapboard. I'm going to be so mad at myself for not doing the clapboard. But it's fine. I can use me leaving as the clapboard, basically. So. Okay. Actually, what I'm realizing, though, is the camera was still stuck in third-person mode there. So that's not actually going to be facing me. That's going to be where... Yep, okay. So I was up here, basically. And we're going to restart this from here with a rough setting of this. Okay. So there's me talking. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, bum 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 bum, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so let's try the... How does this look with these here? I don't think I'm going to be blocking anything important on the time lapse here. So, okay, here's what we're going to do next. We're going to hit pause. We're going to hit render. Going to hit chroma keying. And we're going to put that as green as we can get it. Okay. Render name tags is off. So if we hit render, how does this... I wonder what my hair looks like on this. Okay, so let's load up Project Gutenberg's Moby Dick here. Or the whale. What was the last chapter we read? I feel like we read the first lowering. And they were very lucky that they were... Okay. Dang it, that tree there is super visible. We got like a little pet tree. Welcome, Charlie Grow. Glad you could join us today. Appreciate the raid. Okay. Glad you have an oven again, Taco Squirrel. Okay. We're starting at chapter 49. That's what I thought, the hyena. Okay. So just as a reminder, the story Moby Dick is very dated, and there's going to be some stuff in there that is not ideal. I'm going to choose not to read certain words. I'm going to edit some stuff on the fly, but I do think it's a piece of literature worth reading nonetheless. Boy, I really don't know if my hair... I think my hair is going to look really bad on the green screen. In some ways, that's kind of funnier. We're going to chroma... this is going to be, like, awkwardly chroma'd out in front of the time-lapse. Okay. Great. So... we've got that done. We're going to exit the replay. Okay. Probably should rename that file. That's actually... I don't think I named that file properly when I was exporting it. And we're going to copy that to the external hard drive. Ooh, I also need to rename the file that we just... the voiceover part of it, too. Okay. So that was going to be HC10... Dang it. No, I don't want to create a new folder. I want to rename that file. HC10-029-raw-a intro Joe. And then in the replay videos folder, we're going to rename that last file HC10-029-RP for replay, RT for real time, chroma Joe intro. Okay, and we're going to copy those over to the external hard drive that I copy everything onto for editing. So new folder, HC10-029, spray pond. Okay. So I already created one kind of replay file of me clearing out a ton of stuff over here near the spray pond and where this is going to go. And so during tonight's Moby Dick stream, I'm going to be reading chapter 49, The Hyena, and I'm going to be removing a lot of blocks. Oh no, my view is... I can't see anything. Not simulation distance, we want render distance. Let's turn that back up to a more reasonable 80 chunks or whatever. Alrighty. Welcome back, Headstanding Penguin. Yep. Everything went well at the airport yesterday. What is that noise? Is that the Arctic fox? Huh. Oh yeah, I took my elytra off. I'm like, why aren't these rockets firing? You know, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking maybe before we start the whole Moby Dick thing, we go repair a bunch of tools. Because I have a bunch of tools that are nearly broken. And that's going to be a problem. And then also... yeah. Tools and gearbox. What do we need to pull out of here that needs to be repaired? This axe is nearly dead. Nothing else in here has mending on it. So... cool. And we'll just fill our inventory like so we don't pick up a bunch of random stuff. Okay. But yeah, we've done a lot of work on surveying and laying things out earlier. And that's going to make things easier to... So basically, if I fly up here, these roads are what I've been laying out in the overworld, as well as the location of the, not waterfall, water tower. This pond is what we're going to be digging out tonight. It's funny, I always assumed I was going to build a bunch of the service buildings first, but I just never got to any of them. Oh well. Just as a reminder, this is a viewer-supported stream. We are $20 away from our first face camera expansion milestone. Oh, I don't have the face camera on because I was in recording mode. Let's swap that back. So I'm down here in slot 9 putting the hot in the hotbar. Let's take that image off right now. But yeah, it has been a busy day. I went to the pharmacy and got both my flu shot and the newly released COVID vaccine. Since I know people who work in pharmacy, one of them was like, hey, for some reason my store is getting the new round of COVID vaccines, like, first. It's like, wait, really? Oh, okay. We'll go to your store. Oh, that's really loud. So we went and got the new round of COVID vaccines, as well as the flu shot. So my arm is a little sore. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like trying to lift my arm there. Jan Wyvern says, oh, that's available now. It was just approved, like, last week. And, or this, it was just, or no, this week, because it's still Saturday. It's not Sunday yet. It was, yeah. So it's starting to roll out over time. My daughter was disappointed because it's 12 and up and she's only 11, so she was able to get the flu shot, but not the COVID. The 11 and younger variant is going to come out soon, but they don't have that yet. Oh, which we didn't know. But okay. Getting stuff going. Repairing axes. Okay. Slowly we're repairing our gear. Super Weevil Gaming says, odd question, what's your favorite way to eat eggs? Probably orally. Okay. So let's post what we're reading. Pin that message until under the stream. Pin that message till the end of the stream. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. We're running through the enderman. We turned off our hostile mob sounds, which might have been a mistake. Coming back around. Turn them back up, wow. Uh-oh. Ooh. Well, this is a bad visual glitch when this happens. But we need to disconnect and reconnect for replay mod purposes anyway. Bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum. We've been having some weird bugs on the server lately. Okay, good. The chests are back. Yeah, because ZF had some chests like completely disappear, and it was like a whole thing. Ooh. Okay, so run through the bum, bum, bum. Wait, why is this box full? Okay. Okay, we're gonna have to free up some inventory space here. Actually, let's put the tools and gearbox down here. Don't need the second one of those right now. We do need the shovel. Okay. Welcome, Lunarcraft. Glad you could join us. Okay, lifting up my arms. Oh boy, I'm really feeling that. It's fine. Let's see. Incoming message from the Hermitcraft server admins. Unrelated to what I'm doing, so not a problem. Okay, great. Wait, how did my elytra and stuff not get repaired? Oh, it probably just got messed up when I was flying back. Okay. Cool. Wait, do I not have blast protection on my helmet? That's projectile protection 1. What was I thinking there? Okay. So, we're going to start reading Moby Dick, Chapter 49, The Hyena. And we are going to put a nice little marker in our replay mod file to indicate that it is time to let us begin. Once again, if any tips roll in during the reading, we will read those tip messages after the segment. So without further ado, Chapter 49 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville, The Hyena. There are certain queer times and occasions in this strange mixed affair we call life when a man takes this whole universe for a vast practical joke, though the wit thereof he but dimly discerns, and more than suspects that the joke is at nobody's expense but his own. However, nothing dispirits and nothing seems worthwhile disputing. He bolts down all events, all creeds and beliefs and persuasions, all hard things, visible and invisible, never mind how knobby, as an ostrich of potent digestion gobbles down bullets and gun flints. And as for small difficulties and worryings, prospects of sudden disaster, peril of life and limb, all these, and death itself, seem to him only sly, good-natured hits, jolly punches in the side bestowed by the unseen and unaccountable old joker. That odd sort of wayward mood I am speaking of comes over a man only in some time of extreme tribulations. It comes in the very midst of his earnestness. So that what just before might have seemed to him a thing most momentous now seems but part of the general joke. There is nothing like the perils of whaling to breed this free and easy sort of genial desperado philosophy. And with it, I now regard this whole voyage of the Pequod and the great white whale its object. "Queequeg," said I, when they had dragged me, the last man, to the deck, and I was still shaking myself in my jacket to fling off the water. "Queequeg, my fine friend, does this sort of thing often happen?" Without much emotion, though soaked through just like me, he gave me to understand that such things did often happen. "Mr. Stubb," said I, turning to that worthy who, buttoned up in his oil jacket, was now calmly smoking his pipe in the rain. "Mr. Stubb, I think I heard you say that of all whalemen you ever met, our chief mate, Mr. Starbuck, is by far the most careful and prudent. I suppose, then, that going plump on a flying whale with your sails set in a foggy squall is the height of a whaleman's discretion."
"Certain. I've lured for whales from a leaking ship in a gale off Cape Horn."
"Mr. Flask," said I, turning to the little king post, who was standing close by, "you are experienced in these things, and I am not. Will you tell me whether it is an unalterable law in the fishery, Mr. Flask, for an oarsman to break his own back, pulling himself back foremost into death's jaws?"
"Can't you twist that smaller?" said Flask. "Yes, that's the law. I should like to see a boat's crew backing water up to a whale face foremost. A whale give a squint, my night."
Here, then, from 3 impartial witnesses, I had a deliberate statement of the entire case. Considering, therefore, that squalls and capsizings in the water and consequent bivouacs on the deep were matters of common occurrence in this kind of life, considering that at the superlatively critical instant of going on to the whale, I must resign my life into the hands of him who steered the boat, oftentimes a fellow who at that very moment is in his impetuousness upon the point of scuttling the craft with his own frantic stampings, considering that the particular disaster to our own particular boat was chiefly to be imputed to Starbuck's driving on to his whale almost in the teeth of a squall, and considering that Starbuck, notwithstanding, was famous for his great heedfulness in the fishery. Considering that I belonged to this uncommonly prudent Starbucks's boat, and finally, considering in what a devil's chase I was implicated, touching the white whale. Taking all things together, I say, I might as well go below and work on the draft of my will. "Queequeg," said I, come along, you shall be my lawyer, executor, and legatee." It may seem strange of all men that sailors should be tinkering at their last wills and testaments. But there are no people more fond of that diversion. This was the 4th time in my nautical life that I had done the same thing. After the ceremony was concluded upon the present occasion, I felt all the easier. A stone was rolled away from my heart. Besides, all the days I should now live would be as good as the day Lazarus walked after his resurrection. A supplementary clean gain of so many months or weeks as the case may be. I survived myself. My death and burial were locked up in my chest. I looked round me tranquilly and contentedly, like a quiet ghost with a clean conscience, sitting inside the bars of a snug family vault. Now then, thought I, unconsciously rolling up the sleeves of my frock, here goes for cool, collected dives at death and destruction, and the devil fetch the hindmost. And that concludes Chapter 49 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville, the hyena. So for those of you who didn't catch last week, probably should have mentioned that, they almost died at the end of the last week's reading. Their whaleboat went out, sailed into a squall. The whaleboats are smaller than the large ship. These are like small hunting craft. And so basically they lost the ship in the storm, and their own whaleboat was barely afloat. It was like basically swamped with water. And they couldn't light their lantern to signal for help because it was so wet. They had just been completely soaked through. And basically the ship randomly stumbled upon them, smashed up their whaleboat by stumbling upon them, but they all jumped free at the last second and were able to get pulled up onto the deck. So this is why Ishmael is not in a great mood this chapter. He's like, what up, it's your boy Ishmael. Remember when you left us for dead? Because, yeah, the whaleboat wasn't even... The actual proper ship wasn't even searching for the whaleboat. They just assumed they all died in the storm. It was sheer luck that they literally smashed into them. So, yeah. And that was how that went. Centauratron says about Moby Dick, not a lot happens, but when it does happen, it happens well. Fair enough. Fair enough. Moe says, Legend Joe Hill's never set up his stream. We got a lot to do here. We got a lot to do here. I don't know if I've set up the stream or not. I can't play my checklist song because this is a Saturday night, so we need the Moby Dick VOD to stay live and not get copyright struck. Even when I use my own music, basically if you have any music in a stream, it causes problems on YouTube's back end I don't have time to deal with. So, whatever. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot to figure out over here. This is going to be its own whole thing. Like, where this pond is and how deep it is and all this stuff is like a whole challenge that we're not ready for yet. Right now, we're just removing the surplus dirt that we know is going to have to go. Welcome someone to the stream. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay, so we're gonna put the surplus blocks into the box. Surplus blocks into the box, then I got another load. After a while, my arms will get tired and then it's time to go. But I can't cease in questioning if I finally found a home. Dun dun dun, dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun. Do I have any plans for the pond other than making the pond? Nope, that's going to be left to the other hermits as an exercise. Okay. Oh, sun's getting low. We're going to go ahead and find a place to lay our heads down and dream. And we're also going to update the what we're reading thing to reflect that we're switching over to chapter 50 here. What we're reading. Okay. We're going to replace the pinned message in YouTube and replace the pinned message in Twitch. Okay. And I'm going to post this over here. Okay. If anybody would like to tip, just as a reminder, I've got a wedding and a honeymoon coming up. Even though my fiance and I are trying to have a relatively frugal wedding and honeymoon, the time I'm taking off for that means I'm not going to be working, and you don't really get paid vacation time when you're self-employed. You just eat through your savings. I'd be a lot less stressed out if I knew how I was going to pay rent at the end of September without showing up for work for like a week and a half. So anybody who wants to help me build up those savings now, it would be deeply appreciated. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Okay, so we got one zombie over here. Okay, let's go. So, the other big thing that some of y'all might have missed last week when we were reading Moby Dick is Juliet Graves tips 5 and says, tipped time off. Thank you, Juliet Graves. That's going to get us now 15 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Appreciate you. So a few weeks ago, Kabako and another sailor were talking about how they suspected there might be stowaways on board, but they couldn't prove it. And last week, we found out who the stowaways were. Their leader is a guy named Fadala, and the rest of the stowaways, well, they're not stowaways, I guess, technically, but they're not employed by the owners, the proper owners of the ship. So at the beginning of the novel, we learned how the captains who had previously run this ship, or sailed the ship themselves, now own it and send Ahab out to operate it day to day. And those owner captains hire the crew, provision the ship, do all these things. We found out last week that Ahab had brought his own set of extra guys that he's paying out of pocket to help him hunt the white whale. And this is really weird, right? Okay? So let's say that you work for NASA, and you're on a spacecraft going to the ISS, and you're riding up there with fellow astronaut Mark Kelly, right? And then when you get to the International Space Station, a few weeks later, like, Mark Kelly introduces, like, oh, by the way, I brought a few guys up here to do some work for me. They were in one of the crates. I hope you don't mind, right? That would be weird. That would be super weird. So even though Ahab is technically the captain of the ship, he's not supposed to be bringing separate off-the-books crew, hiding them from everybody else until they're too far away to do anything, and then revealing them dramatically. Which he did. Very dramatic, the reveal. Anyway, we also got a tip rolling in. Let's see who it's from. It's from Patrick, who tips 50, who says, happy honeymoon. Thank you, Patrick. 15 gets us one face camera expansion milestone. 35 gets us another 45. And 50 gets us only 5 away from the third. Let's go ahead and get these first two. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting that my arm hurts. So here we go. Please direct your attention down here to slot 9 where I'm putting the hot in the hot bar. So I can say, howdy, y'all. Grow Hills here, expanding as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. Dee-da-dee-da-dee, dee-da-dee-da-dee-dee-dee. And then numero dos, even larger Joe. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Once again, thank you, Patrick. That put us 5 away for the next Face Camera expansion milestone. Christina then tips 10. That gets us 5 past. Who says, gift. Thank you very much. Here we go. It's time to expand Joe. Dee-dee-dee-dee. Okay, yeah, so I got 2 shots today. The flu shot and the new COVID vaccine. So my arm hurts. Also, I was looking for stuff. So the green screen. That's fine. That's normal. We're just gonna hang that up like there. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it's all coming together. Okay. So let's see what we got here. We got another 15 rolling in from Hatch, who says, good luck, brother. Thank you very much, Hatch, for the 15. That gets us evenly to our next Face Camera expansion milestone. So here we go. Expand Joe. Do-do-do-do. Jenk says, are you okay? I'm fine. I'm just a little sore because I got flu and COVID vaccines today. So my arm's going to be sore for a little bit. But it's fine. Welcome, Audrey Holt and Boxers Rule Forever. Mailman Dave says, Mailman Dave sharing his commentary in the Discord chat for Patreon patrons writes, Ahab is out of pocket and off the chain. Ooh, good way to put that. So yeah, so the next chapter, the title hints that we're going to talk more about these off-the-books crew members. So we'll see how that goes. Let me go get these things up in here. Roarmonger says, wait, you don't start new jobs being smuggled in a crate? I thought that was standard. I guess it really depends on the industry, you know? Different industries have different standards. Oh, wait, hold on. These are grass. Uh-oh. Oh, no, the dirt is spreading from the... Hold on. There's grass blocks underneath there that's spreading. Yep, that'll happen sometimes. We'll fix it. Okay, cool. Bonafide B says, I love how almost every article of clothing you have is on green screen. The dedication. Well, I mean, the ones I wear for the show, yes. Not everything all the time in general. But, okay. I was gonna say, what was that noise? Was that me jumping on the amethyst? Yeah. It was very faint. Cool. Woodland Juliet says, what is the advantage to Ahab doing off-the-books hiring? That's not necessarily super clear at this point to the reader. I could guess it's that he wants people to back him in case the crew mutinies because he's doing his own mission. But it could also be that he wants them to help him hunt the white whale in ways that the crew might not be willing to. But yeah, we'll have to find out what Ahab has in store. So let's go ahead and start reading chapter 50. I gotta move. So the windows are all weird when I'm doing these. Whoa, what was that noise? Is that like a rabbit falling sound? It was. Okay. Cool. Hey, welcome, Nola. We're just about to read chapter 50 of Moby Dick or The Whale by Herman Melville. Mailman Dave says, I imagine he thinks he needs heavies because he's on a crazy train. Yeah, that could be it. So, chapter 50 is called Ahab's Boat and Crew. Fedallah. Okay, so let me lower the window here so this is in frame and easier for me to read. Okay.
thought it, Flask, cried Stubb. If I had but one leg, you would not catch me in a boat, unless maybe to stop the plug hole with my timber toe. Whoa, he's a wonderful old man.
I don't think it's so strange after all on that account, said Flask. If his leg were off at the hip, now it would be a different thing. That'd disable him, and he has got one knee and a good part of the other left, you know.
I don't know that young little man. I never yet saw him kneel.
Among whale-wise people, it has often been argued whether, considering the paramount importance of his life to the success of a voyage, it is right for a whaling captain to jeopardize that life in the active perils of the chase. So Tamerlane's soldiers often argued with tears in their eyes whether that invaluable life of his ought to be carried into the thickest of the fight. But with Ahab, the question assumed a modified aspect, considering that with 2 legs, a man is but a hobbling wight in all times of danger, considering that the pursuit of whales is always under great and extraordinary difficulties, that every individual moment indeed then comprises a peril. Under these circumstances, is it wise for any maimed man to enter a whaleboat in the hunt? As a general thing, the joint owners of the Pequod must have clearly thought not. Ahab well knew that though his friends at home would think little of him entering a boat in certain comparatively harmless vicissitudes of the chase, for the sake of being near the scene of action and giving his orders in person, yet for Captain Ahab to have a boat actually apportioned to him as a regular headsman in the hunt, above all, for Captain Ahab to be supplied with 5 extra men as that same boat's crew, he well knew He well knew that such generous conceits never entered the heads of the owners of the Pequod. Therefore, he had not solicited a boat's crew from them, nor had he in any way hinted at his desires on that head. Nevertheless, he had taken private measures of his own touching all that matter until Kabako's published discovery. The sailors had little foreseen it, though to be sure, when, after being a little while out of port, all hands had concluded the customary business of fitting the whaleboats for service, when some time after this Ahab was now and then found bestirring himself in the matter of making thole pins with his own hands for what was thought to be one of the spare boats, and even solicitously cutting the small wooden skewers which, when the line is running out, are pinned over the groove in the bow. When all this was observed in him, and particularly his solicitude in having an extra coat of sheathing in the bottom of the boat, as if to make it better withstand the pointed pressure of his ivory limb, and also the anxiety he evinced in exactly shaping the thigh board, or clumsy cleat, as it is sometimes called, the horizontal piece of the boat's bow, That's a hard one. The boat's bow. The clumsy cleat, as it is sometimes called, the horizontal piece in the boat's bow for bracing the knee against in darting or stabbing at the whale. When it was observed how often he stood up in that boat with his solitary knee fixed in the semicircular depression in the cleat, and with the carpenter's chisel gouged out a little here and straightened a little there, all these things, I say, had awakened much interest and curiosity at the time. But almost everyone supposed that this particular preparative heedfulness in Ahab must only be with a view to the ultimate chase of Moby Dick, for he had already revealed his intention to hunt the mortal monster in person. But such a supposition did by no means involve the remotest suspicion as to any boat's crew being assigned to that boat. Now, with the subordinate phantoms, what wonder remained soon waned away, for in a whaler, wonders soon wane. Besides, now and then such unaccountable odds and ends of strange nations come up from the unknown nooks and ash holes of the earth to man these floating outlaws of whalers, and the ships themselves often pick up such queer castaway creatures found tossed about the open sea on planks, bits of wreck, oars, whaleboats, canoes, blown off Japanese junks, and whatnot, that Beelzebub himself might climb up the side and step into the cabin to chat with the captain, and that would not create any unsubduable excitement in the forecastle. But all this as it may, certain it is that while the subordinate phantoms soon found their place among the crew, though still as it were somehow distinct from them, yet that hair-turbaned Fedallah remained a muffled mystery to the last. Whence he came in a mannerly world like this, by what sort of unaccountable tie he soon evinced himself to be linked with Ahab's peculiar fortunes, nay, so far as to have some sort of a half-hinted influence, heaven knows. But it might have been even authority over him. All this none knew. But one cannot sustain an indifferent air concerning Fedallah. He was such a creature as civilized domestic people in the temperate zone only see in their dreams, and that but dimly, but the like of whom now and then glide among the unchanging Asiatic communities, especially the isles to the east of the continent, those insulated, immemorial, unalterable countries, which even in modern days still preserve much of the ghostly aboriginalness of the earth's primal generations, when the memory of the first man was a distant recollection, and all men his descendants, unknowing whence he came, eyed each other as real phantoms, and asked of the sun and the moon why they were created, and to what end. When, though, according to Genesis, the angels indeed consorted with the daughters of men, the devils also, and the uncanonical rabbins indulged in mundane amours. I'm not sure if that's a pun. This is some like old school Lovecraftian, like, oh no, the real horror is that there are people who live on different islands than us. What do we do? It's not great. It's not great. But yeah, it is weird that a bunch of people showed up on the ship who weren't supposed to be there. He's really fixated on the fact that they're from Asia. But there's other parts of this that are weirder than being born somewhere else. A little bit dated. Thanks, Herman Melville. But anyway, that concludes chapter 50. Talking about what? Talking about Ahab's boat and crew and Fedallah. So there we go. Any questions or thoughts about chapter 50? Toxic Glitter says, did Joe place the terracotta that was just revealed? Nope, I found a trail ruin. My second trail ruin in like 3 weeks. Apparently all you gotta do is dig up a huge area. And you'll just stumble onto it, and it's just a wild amount of them. Okay, let's grab some more of these chests here, just so we can keep this stuff going. Okay. Bum, bum. Bum, ba, da. Da, da. Do, 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 do. Yeah, it's a different ruin. Okay. There's more than one ruin. Who knew it? I didn't. It was a complete surprise to me. Let's grab the Nom 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 box. Take some Nom Nom Noms out. Oh, boy. You know, I'm realizing I can probably throw away the dehumidifier box. We're not returning it. It's a really good dehumidifier. And it's not like it needs to be shipped in the box. Like, I kept that big monitor box that fell on me earlier because when I take this monitor places, having the right box for it is actually really helpful because it's a nice monitor. But, yeah, I don't know that I need to keep the dehumidifier box. It nests in its own bucket and then is fine. It's not a problem. Okay. Rifeboy says, I think I really like this book. It's a really interesting book. Welcome, Holy AMP. Where's my beacon? Wait, do we not have beacon coverage? Oh, you're killing me. Really? That's going to be like a whole thing if we don't have beacon coverage for this area. If I go this way, how far do I have to go to get back in beacon range? Okay. That'll get us into beacon range, at least. Bum, bum. Bum, ba-dum. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, maybe there was a beacon over here and it just hasn't been activated, or maybe I actually didn't build one over here. Which is going to be a separate problem, because we do need to dig out a lot of this. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually suspecting... Yeah, so there's beacons near here, but I don't think there's any actual... Okay, yeah, that's just going to be a thing. Okay. So this might put us back in range of the one over here. No, we're not. Okay. So how far do I have to go to get to the one over here? Not very. Okay. Still, it's not ideal. Not optimal. Okay. Well, either way, we will need to remove a bunch of this other stuff. And eventually, when we go this far, we'll get back in range of this one. How far, though? That far. I don't love that. It's further than I want to go. Yeah, that's rough. Okay. So, if you enjoyed Chapter 50, just as a reminder, this is a viewer-supported stream. We are $20 even away from the next Face Camera expansion milestone, and tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Okay. The next chapter is going to be Chapter 51, The Spirit Spout. Spirit Spout's a fun alliteration. Hey, buddy. I'm kind of working here. So anyway, we need to relink that we're on Chapter 51. What is that? Sorry, I was waiting on a friend earlier to pick me up to go get our COVID shots, and I had turned my phone off of silent. I only turn my phone off silent in like the 10 minutes when I'm waiting for somebody or things like that. So then alerts come in and I'm like, I've never heard that noise before. But hey, we just got 5 rolling in from Elodie, who says, my brother is visiting from the state, and I brought him to Moby Dick reading night. He says hi. Well, welcome, Elodie's sibling. Hope you're having a fun time. We're about to start reading Chapter 51, The Spirit Spout. So let's go ahead and get that URL loaded. What we're reading is The Spirit Spout. What we're reading. And then once I post that, I have to replace the pin. Howdy to Brooklyn, New York, James. Glad you could join us. Hey, Wandering Mask. Don't worry, there's a VOD for the Saturday night streams so that people can catch up on the book. Okay. So we're going to empty our inventory before we start the reading of the next segment. Because it's a lot easier to empty my inventory when I'm not reading. Digging and shoveling and stuff, that's fine, but reading's a lot easier. Or inventory management while reading is a challenge for me. Definitely throws me off tempo. So, okay. Let's head over here. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Okay, so we're gonna offload the stone, offload the dirt, offload the snow and that. Then we've got some grass boxes down here, and we might end up needing a few more grass boxes. Dun, 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 dun. Up and over. Yeah, I really like using these splash pads to jump around. Jump around, jump around. Okay. Dang it, immediately that wears off. Welcome, Ray McKay. Tuning in as you always do from Calgary, Alabama. It's Alberta. No, we're trying to save inventory space by not carrying rockets right now. Also, I'm broke in-game. We don't have... I'm running low on rockets. I don't want to waste them if I don't have to. Welcome, Unbuckled Spaghetti. I'm wondering if I should leave this. I don't know. I have mixed thoughts about that. Well, yeah, because anything I dig deeper is gonna... the water's not gonna spread as source blocks, I think. So, I don't think I actually want to dig deeper than that. Maybe... What happened to all of Etho's diamonds? I spent them on rockets. That's why we gotta not constantly use rockets, because they're expensive. Okay, so this part's fine here. It's just along here that we're gonna have to start going. Yeah, CubFam put rockets on sale right after I liquidated, or right after I tied up all of my diamonds in rockets. I went on a huge rocket buying spree. And then Cub's like, well, now they're on sale. And I'm like, well, now I'm out of diamonds. So. Julio MP says, apparently you're the only customer to Kaboom lately, as of Cub's last vid. Oh, really? How does he know? How can he tell that I'm the only customer? Is it because I'm only buying Flight 3 rockets? Well, anyway, let's go ahead. I'm about to start reading chapter 51 of Moby Dick, or The Whale. Just as a reminder, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Tips that come in during the chapter, I probably won't acknowledge until I'm at a logical breaking point, most likely the end of the chapter. So please don't be discouraged. Your support is appreciated. I'm going to be taking some time off next month for my wedding and honeymoon, and the more I can help build up my savings before taking that time off, the more relaxing that time is going to be, because it's really stressful when you're self-employed and you take time off. You don't have paid vacation days. So, okay. Let's go. Chapter 51 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. The Spirit Spout. Days, weeks passed, and under easy sail the Ivory Pequod had slowly swept across 4 several cruising grounds, that off the Azores, off the Cape de Verdes, on the Plate, so-called, being off the mouth of the Rio de la Plata, and the Carroll Ground, an unstaked watery locality, southerly from St. Helena. It was while gliding through these latter waters that one serene and moonlit night, when all the waves rolled by like scrolls of silver, and by their soft, suffusing seethings made what seemed a silvery silence, not a solitude. On such a silent night, a silvery jet was seen far in advance of the white bubbles at the bow. Lit up by the moon, it looked celestial, seemed some of this plumed and glittering god, uprising from the sea. Fadalla first described this jet, for of these moonlit nights it was his wont to mount the main masthead, and stand a lookout there with the same precision as if it had been day. And yet, though herds of whales were seen by night, not one whaleman in 100 would venture a lowering for them. You might think with what emotions, then, the seamen beheld This old man perched aloft at such unusual hours, his turban and the moon, companions in one sky. But when, after spending his uniform interval there for several successive nights without uttering a single sound, when, after all this silence, his unearthly voice was heard announcing that silvery moonlit jet, every reclining mariner started to his feet as if some winged spirit had lighted in the rigging and hailed the mortal crew. "There she blows!" Had the trumpet of judgment blown, they could not have quivered more, yet still they felt no terror, rather pleasure. For though it was a most unwonted hour, yet so impressive was the cry, and so deliriously exciting, that almost every soul on board instinctively desired a lowering. Walking the deck with quick, side-lunging strides, Ahab commanded the topgallant sails and royals to be set, and every stun sail spread. The best man in the ship must take the helm. Then, with every masthead manned, the piled-up craft rolled down before the wind. The strange, upheaving, lifting tendency of the taffrail breeze, filling the hollows of so many sails, made the buoyant, hovering deck to feel like air beneath the feet, while still she rushed along, as if two antagonistic influences were struggling in her, one to mount direct to heaven, the other to drive yawningly towards some horizontal goal. And had you watched Ahab's face that night, you would have thought that in him also two different things were warring. While his one live leg made lively echoes along the deck, every stroke of his dead limb sounded like a coffin tap. On life and death, this old man walked. But though the ship so swiftly sped, and though from every eye like arrows the eager glances shot, yet the silvery jet was seen no more that night. Every sailor swore he saw it once, but none a second time. The midnight spout had almost grown a forgotten thing, when some days after, lo, at the same silent hour, it was again announced. Again it was descried by all. But upon making sail to overtake it, once more it disappeared, as if it had never been. And so it served us, night after night, till no one heeded it, but to wonder at it. Mysteriously jetted into the clear moonlight or starlight as the case may be, disappearing again for one whole day or 2 days or 3. And somehow seeming at each distinct repetition to be advancing still further and further in our van, this solitary jet seemed forever alluring us on. Nor with the immemorial superstition, and in accordance with their preternaturalness, it seemed, which in many things invested the Pequod, there were wanting some of the seamen who swore that whenever and wherever descried, at however remote times or at however far apart latitudes and longitude, that unnearable spout was cast by one self-same whale, and that whale was Moby Dick. For a time there reigned, too, a sense of peculiar dread at this flitting apparition, as if it were treacherously beckoning us on and on, in order that the monster might turn round upon us and rend at last in the remotest and most savage seas. These temporary apprehensions, so vague but so awful, derived a wondrous potency from the contrasting serenity of the weather, in which, beneath all its blue blandness, some thought there lurked a devilish charm, as for days and days we voyaged along through seas so wearily, lonesomely mild, that all space, in repugnance to our own vengeful errand, seemed vacating itself of all life before our urn-like prow. But, at last, when turning to the eastward, the Cape winds began howling at us, and we rose and fell upon the long troubled seas that are there, when the ivory-tusked Pequod sharply bowed to the blast and gored the dark waves in her madness, till, like showers of silver chips, the foam flakes flew o'er her bulwarks. Then all this desolate vacuity of life went away, but gave place to sights more dismal than before. Close to our bows, strange forms in the water darted hither and thither before us, while thick in our rear flew the inscrutable sea ravens. And every morning, perched on our stays, rows of these birds were seen, and in spite of our hootings, for a long time obstinately clung to the hemp, as though they deemed our ship some drifting, uninhabited craft, a thing appointed to desolation, and therefore a fit roosting place for their homeless selves. And heaved, still unrestingly heaved at the black sea, as if its vast tides were a conscience, and the great mundane soul were in anguish and remorse for the long sin and suffering it bred. Cape of Good Hope, do they call ye? Rather Cape Tormentoso, as called of yore, for long allured by the perfidious silences that before had attended us, we found ourselves launched into this tormented sea, where guilty beings transformed into those fowls and these fish seemed condemned to swim on everlastingly without any haven in store, or beat that black air without any horizon, but calm, snow-white, and unvarying, still directing its fountain of feathers to the sky, still beckoning us on from before. The solitary jet would at times be descried. During all this blackness of elements, Ahab, though assuming for the time almost continuous command of the drenched and dangerous deck, manifested the gloomiest reserve, and more seldom than ever addressed his mates. In tempestuous times like these, after everything above and aloft has been secured, nothing more can be done but passively to await the issue of the gale. Then, captain and crew become practical fatalists. So, with his ivory leg inserted into its accustomed hole, and with one hand firmly grasping the shroud, Ahab for hours and hours would stand gazing dead to windward, while an occasional squall of sleet or snow would all but congeal his very eyelashes together. Meantime, the crew, driven from the forward part of the ship by the perilous seas that burstingly broke over its bows, stood in line along the bulwarks in the waist, and the better to guard against the leaping waves, each man had slipped himself into a sort of bowline secured to the rail, in which he swung as in a loosened belt. Few or no words were spoken, and the silent ship, as though manned by painted sailors in wax, day after day tore on through all the swift madness and gladness of the demoniac waves. By night, the same muteness of humanity before the shrieks of the ocean prevailed. Still, in silence, the men swung in the bowlines. Still, wordless, Ahab stood up to the blast. Even when wearied nature seemed demanding repose, he would not seek repose in his hammock. Never could Starbuck forget the old man's aspect when one night going down into the cabin to mark how the barometer stood, he saw him with half-closed eyes sitting straight in his floor-screwed chair. The rain and half-melted sleet of the storm from which he had come sometime the rain and half-melted sleet of the storm from which he had some time before emerged, still slowly dripping from the unremoved hat and coat. On the table beside him lay unrolled one of those charts of tides and currents which had previously been spoken of. His lantern swung from his tightly clenched hand. Though his body was erect, the head was thrown back so the closed eyes were pointing toward the needle of the telltale that swung from a beam in the ceiling. The cabin compass is called the telltale because without going to the compass at the helm, the captain, while below, can inform himself of the course of the ship. Terrible old man, thought Starbuck with a shudder. Sleeping in this gale, still thou, steadfastly, eyest thy purpose. And that concludes Chapter 51 of Moby Dick, or the Whale, by Herman Melville, The Spirit Stout. Welcome, Axolotl42. If anybody has any thoughts about that chapter we just read, feel free to jump in. If any questions, share those as well. Thank you to Gritmonger for tipping 50. Who says, I know how stressful it can be to be low on funds with kiddos. Yeah, I think it's going to be fine, or I wouldn't have, planned to take the time off, but, I can't prove it's going to be fine. Yeah. So, no, I appreciate it. Every bit helps. So, one face camera at 15, 35 gets you another one, and then 50 gets us 5 away from a third. So, let's see. For that first face camera expansion milestone, y'all have seen that money go to my head with each expansion milestone we hit. But now, like Jacob Marley, these chains I forged in life are about to remind me that humanity was my business as they pull me down to the deep below. Enter the Jost. Bum, 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 bum. Lowering the Joe pasty now to 90%, so thank you very much to Gritmonger. Numero dos, even larger Jost. Do-do-do-do. Lowering the Joe pasty now to 80%. And once again, thank you, Gritmonger. That puts us now only $5 away from the next expansion. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Woo! Gotta stretch. My arm is, still really sore from getting the flu shot and the latest COVID shot earlier today. But if I don't move it, it's gonna get sorer, so... Okay. I figure, it's probably a good time for us to prepare to go repair our gear. Both my shovels are trashed at this point, so that's a concern. But I would like to burn through this pick partially as well, right? Because, it's such a pain to go all the way to the nether, we might as well break a bunch of things before we go there. But yeah, 2 shovels. That was faster than I thought. I might need to make a 3rd shovel. I don't know if I have the books for it. I definitely don't have the diamonds to buy the books for it. So that's a concern, too. Okay. But we can go ahead and clear up a lot of this. Woo! Welcome, Stephanie Hall. Things are going well. We just read 3 chapters of Moby Dick. We're making great time today. I don't want to accidentally hit this guy because then that'll make him mad at me. Okay. Okay. So the next chapter isn't very long. So we're definitely going to read at least one more chapter tonight, but I do think I want to focus on trying to figure out what we're doing here first. Okay, because the problem is I can't remove a lot of this stuff without getting a new beacon over here. And that's going to require adding an entirely additional beacon base. But at the point where we're going all the way back to spawn anyway, what do we want to do? Do we want to move? We're not ready to necessarily unload another thing for Etho. Bum, bum. Bum, ba-dum. Bum, bum. Bum, ba-dum. Okay, I think we are going to go ahead and drop off a lot of this stuff here. And oops. So rest blocks can go down here. Hey, we got another tip rolling in. Let's see who it's from. It's 5 from Benson. Thank you, Benson, who says, here's to less stress. Well, I appreciate you. Here we go. It's time to expand Jost. Do-do-do-do. Lowering the Joe opacity now to 70%. Awesome. Thank you very much, Benson. That puts us 20 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Yeah, I guess we can take down the setting up stream sign. We can't actually play the song because we don't want YouTube to give me a copyright strike for my own song because it sounds too much like the original that we're parodying. Even though that's protected, it's like a whole thing. So, yeah, we don't do any music during the streams where we want to be sure to save the VOD. Okay. Part of me is just like, well, if I'm just trying to wear the pick out, we're going to mark that that's the end of us doing the work done there. I'm just trying to wear the pick out. There's stuff over here that can always be pickaxed. Even in Etho? Not markers, tokens. Oh, whoops. Each run is worth 10. Okay, we're going to do a quick recording segment with Etho real quick. Let's grab some rockets. Thank you, Etho. Super awesome. Okay. So we are on our way as soon as I grab enough rockets to get us there. 12 is enough. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Where is the nearest portal? There. I think there might be a problem with that one, though. That one's not lit in the nether, I don't think. I think it got blown out by a ghast. So we're going to head to the next one over here. Welcome, Mason. Sleep well, headstanding penguin. Ken Dreadful says, crowd goes wild for an ethos segment. Yeah, I'm going to turn the face camera off before we get over there, and I'm going to start the recording now, just so I don't forget. You know what, we should probably... Let's use the bed real quick before we get there. Because I don't know where the bed is in the shopping district. It might have been removed. Okay, so the recording is on. Face camera is off. We've got audio. We've got game audio. Yeah, we're all set. Dun 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 dun. I got plenty of terraforming done out. As much fun as it is terraforming, it's nice to take a break and check in with our pals. Like Etho. Howdy, Etho.
Howdy, Joe.
I'm out here in the lobby of your shop. I love this place. It looks amazing.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Aha.
Yeah,
So you've been running out of frog lights again?
Yeah, quite a bit. I've burned through like thousands maybe at this point.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Yeah, you had left a bunch of them in a box over here. And so what I was doing was I was just dropping off the stone for you behind the Popo office, where they put your old shop. And so I figure that's a problem for Skiz and Scar to clean up later if they don't like it. But yeah, once you got rid of the box over here, I was like, uh-oh, I'm down 20 stacks of frog lights. Yeah, what do I do?
Aha. Well, I got just the thing for you, Joe.
Ooh, I love just the things.
Now, these are special Joe coins, okay?
Ooh.
Try not to get them mixed up, like if you actually get real frog coins later.
Yeah, will do.
But you can use these as like a way of getting frog lights for now.
Awesome. Well, so, okay, so it's how many... So it's 4 frog lights per coin.
Yes. So what you do...
Okay.
Come on down here. Actually, let's see if you can figure it out.
Okay. So I like the color coding. I will say I have accidentally put a sword in here already. So thank you for returning that the other day.
It's Joe-proof now, so that shouldn't be an issue
now.
if you do it
Okay.
again.
So let's see. So if I put one thing in there, where do they come out? Oh, that's cute.
Aha.
And in theory, I can't break this by like trying to go down there.
And only if you break blocks.
Okay.
Only if you break blocks.
Well, I won't do that. Okay, I am going to have to do some math, though. Because each verdant frog light... Okay, so each token is worth 4. 4 goes into 64 16 times. You owe me 20 stacks. So 20 times 16 is 5 stacks of tokens. Okay. I figured it out. 5 stacks of tokens I need to feed into this thing.
Okay.
So I'll just put I'll put the 5 stacks on my hotbar and just plug them right in.
This might be a little bit more tedious than the old method.
Well, I mean, the old method was a lot more like, this isn't technically stealing you guys, I promise. So, you know, I like this. It wobbles. It's got a fun little wobble, very jaunty wobble to it.
It seems like it's got a pretty good buffer in there, actually. I thought you would have filled it by now.
No, I mean, I'm putting them in there as fast as I can, but I guess the hopper's pulling them out faster.
Yeah.
Oh, it's making a different noise.
Okay, I think you probably hit the cap now.
Well, it's taking them.
Yeah, it'll keep going. It's just slowly sucking them out.
Oh, gotcha. So, if I let it sit for a minute and then oh, yeah, it's way faster now. Yeah, I was hitting the cap.
So it's got like a full stack in there right now of coins.
Oh, nice. Well, at least we know I can't break this. Oh, I love it that it comes down a little chute. That's really cute. Can I stand back here and do it? Oh, this is even better. Now I don't have to worry about them, like, despawning behind me while I feed them in here for minutes at a time.
If this is a little too tedious, I could probably pull up full shulkers.
No, this is fine. Let's see. I'm up to... Yeah, it's working. Yeah, so by the time I put what's left in here, that'll be the last bunch, I think. And then I'll just wait for it to pull them out of the hopper.
I'm gonna go down there and just make sure it's working properly too.
Oh yeah, go for it. Enjoy the stress test.
You're like the first one, like really stress testing it.
Sure. Okay, I might have done my math wrong. I think... Well, wait, no, because I need 20 stacks. Okay, yeah. Oh, this is gonna be a while then. Yeah, we're only at 12 stacks.
I think it's working okay.
I think I have enough inventory space to fit 20 stacks of frog lights.
Although... No, it should be fine.
It's definitely feeding them to me in quartets.
Yeah, so it goes by 4s.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I might just put like some shulkers full for you outside somewhere.
That would also be fine. It might be less of a challenge for you to have to reload the system. Yeah, because that's the other thing
the
is...
system's totally automatic.
Oh,
so-
yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I don't really mind feeding the tokens into this. So yeah, every time I bring you a load of stone, that's gonna be 5 stacks of tokens, I guess. No, it's gonna be 2.5 stacks of tokens. Yeah, okay. So this will hold me over for a little while.
Okay.
But yeah, probably within 2 weeks I'll be coming back again.
Okay. I got the Froglight farm fixed, so I can start churning them out again.
Okay, fantastic. So let me do my math here. 6 times 3 plus 2. Yep, that's 20 stacks. We did it. Woo!
Perfect. It gave you the right amount?
Exactly the right amount. Thank you so much, Etho. I'm super excited to get back to work on my roads. I got so much to do over there.
Awesome.
Alrighty. Well, good luck with your Frogger game. Let me know when it's open. I can't wait to play.
Sure thing.
Alrighty. Catch you later.
Later.
Well, that was a fun treat. What do y'all think? You have fun? Yeah, I think that was a good segment. Woo. So we're going to stop the recording there. Hope I don't immediately fly into something. It's always fun to see Etho, right? Welcome, NJ. Yeah, just it wasn't reading the chat too aggressively while I was talking to Etho. Oh boy, stretching my arm again. Okay. So food and fireworks can come back out. We do need to go to the the end to repair our gear. So all the gear that needs to be repaired is going on the hotbar. And how am I this disoriented? Alrighty. Well, let's see. Where were we? We, just as a reminder, we are $20 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. I'm turning the camera back on because we are out of recording mode. Hi, everybody. We are reading chapters 48, 49, 50, 51. No, chapters 49 through 52 of Moby Dick tonight, at least. Chapter 52 is short. That's the one we're up to next. I'm going to post a link to that once we actually start doing our reading, but we gotta go repair our gear first. I'm really glad we were able to catch Etho, because, like, I was working on something earlier today, and I was like, oh, if I had the frog lights right now, this would be so much easier. So, I actually spent, like, 3 hours, no, 2.5 hours maybe today surveying a bunch of stuff out by the by the water tower, figuring out where the roads are going to be. But I didn't have any frog lights, so I was doing it with like torches, and it's not great. Frog lights are the way to do it. Okay. So let me get the link set up for the next chapter while we're over here. What we're reading, chapter 52 of Moby Dick. What we're reading. And then we'll pin that. Welcome, Couch Crew Raiders. My name is Joe Hills. I'm broadcasting live from Nashville, Tennessee. We were just talking to our friend Etho and getting some frog coins to use in his fancy machine. We got 20 stacks of frog lights, so that'll hold me over for a day or two. I'm laughing, but not... Yeah. We are repairing a bunch of shovels and broken gear as well. I think I had a broken axe. Oh, I didn't put it back in the... It's fine. It's kind of a shame, though. But yeah, I chopped down a bunch of trees and did a bunch of surveying today while watching the Northwest Pinball Tournament. Congratulations on MK for winning the women's championship. It was a very fun tournament to watch. Grandwig says, how appropriate. Orch just fought a frog. Nice. And Blaze Actually Animate says, he also fought a bear. I believe it. Well, welcome. Let's see what we got here. We're repairing our gear. It needs a lot of repairs. Oh, once we go back to work on our time lapse more, we're gonna probably log out and log back in for replay mod purposes. So, alrighty. Let's take care of these Endermen. They're not particularly our friends. Okay. So many frog lights. I am ready to go and get this done. Got grilled by a bear that looks like Bear Grylls. Interesting. Okay, there's all of our gear repaired. We're trying not to use too many rockets because we're running low on rockets. Which is one of the reasons I've got splash pads in a grid all over my base area now. Do 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 do. Burm 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 burm. Okay. I didn't like randomly leave any unnecessary shulker boxes over here. Did I? I feel like I left some extra shulker boxes over in the main beacon. Minta says, my brother-in-law plays pinball with Luke Nahorniak locally. Oh, is your brother-in-law from, like, the Green Bay area? I think Luke Nahorniak is, his home place is, District 82, I think. I know, well, the thing is, he's at District 82 all the time, so I assume he lives there, but, like, he might just really like District 82. Yeah, I went up to District 82 about a year ago. It was a fantastic time. I've been trying to figure out when I can afford to take my daughter up there, because I think she'd really like it, but that's, like, a whole trip. Got our Hermitcraft TCG cards here. Okay. Okay. Oh, this one. Put them in here. Yay! And we'll take those out. We'll put those in here with the red sand. I don't know. It's kind of... Panama City Chief. I don't know that command. I'm not really an expert at Twitch stuff, though. We don't have any bots here. Like, people do commands all the time that don't work. Because, like, I'm like, you know, we're here at the end of the day to relax with other people, not to tell robots what to do, you know? So... This isn't like a stream where we have a lot of commands. Or any commands, actually. We have /raid, but only I can do it. I don't think that works here, Panama City Chief. Or Chef. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat, if that's what you're asking about. Okay. So wait, where did I leave the broken axe then? Or did I already fix it? I guess I must have already fixed it. Okay. That's fine. I actually did not know what the /cheer command was. That wasn't me being obtuse. I've never used it, I don't think. There's like a button on my phone that I used to do that with, but it was like 7 or 8 years ago, and then I forgot about it. Okay. Yeah, the camera gets bigger when we hit certain tipping milestones. Okay, did we disconnect and reconnect for replay mod purposes? I don't think we have yet. So we're going to disconnect and reconnect for replay mod purposes for the time lapse we're about to do. So we're going to let that file save. Take a sip of our sports drink. Which is also green, so it gets chromed out. Okay. That's saving it. It'll probably be fine. Okay. So, we're going to roll in this way. And we should probably put these in storage. We'll do that later. Okay. So we're currently at 71, and we need to not be anywhere near 71. I'll tell you that. So, anyway. Moby Dick, Chapter 52, The Albatross. Southeastward from the Cape, off the distant Crozettes, a good cruising ground for right whalemen, a sail loomed ahead, the Goni, Albatross by name. As she slowly drew nigh, from my lofty perch at the foremast head, I had a good view of that sight so remarkable to a tyro in the far ocean fisheries, a whaler at sea, and long absent from home. As if the waves had been fullers, this craft was bleached like the skeleton of a stranded walrus. All down her sides, this spectral appearance was traced with long channels of reddened rust, while all her spars and her rigging were like the thick branches of trees furred o'er with hoarfrost. Only her lower sails were set. A wild sight it was to see her long-bearded lookouts at those 3 mastheads. They seemed clad in the skins of beasts, so torn and patched the raiment that had survived nearly 4 years of cruising. Standing in iron hoops, nailed to the mast, they swayed and swung o'er a fathomless sea. And though, when the ship slowly glided close under our stern, we 6 men in the air came so nigh to each other that we might almost have leaped from the mastheads of one ship to those of the other. Yet those forlorn-looking fishermen, mildly eyeing us as we passed, said not one word to our own lookouts, while the quarter-deck hail was being heard from below. "Ship ahoy! Have you seen the white whale?" But as the strange captain, leaning o'er the bulwarks, was in the act of putting his trumpet to his mouth, it somehow fell from his hand into the sea. And the wind now rising amain, he in vain strove to make himself heard without it. Meantime, his ship was still increasing the distance between. While in various silent ways the seamen of the Pequod were evincing their observance of this ominous incident. At the first mere mention of the whale's name to another ship, Ahab for a moment paused. It almost seemed as though he would have lowered a boat to board the stranger. But had not the threatening wind forbade. But, taking advantage of his windward position, he again seized his trumpet, and knowing by her aspect that the stranger vessel was a Nantucketer and shortly bound home, he loudly hailed, "Ahoy there! This is the Pequod, bound round the world. Tell them to address all future letters to the Pacific Ocean, and this time 3 years, if I am not at home, tell them to address them to." At that moment the two wakes were fairly crossed, and instantly then, in accordance with the singular ways, shoals of small harmless fish that for some days had been placidly swimming by our side, darted away with what seemed shuddering fins, and ranged themselves fore and aft on the stranger's flanks. Though in the course of his continual voyaging, Ahab must have often before noticed a similar sight, yet to any monomaniac man, the various trifles capriciously carry meaning. "Swim away from me, do ye?" murmured Ahab, gazing over into the water. There seemed but little in the words, but the tone conveyed more of a deep, helpless sadness than the insane old man had ever before evinced. But, turning to the steersman, who thus far had been holding the ship up in the wind to diminish her headway, he cried out in his old lion voice, "Up, helm! Keep her off! Round the world!" Round the world. There is so much in that sound to inspire proud feelings. But whereto does all that circumnavigation conduct? Only through numberless perils to the very point whence we started, where those that we left behind secure were all the time before us. Were this world an endless plain, and by sailing eastward we could forever reach new distances and discover sights more sweet and strange than any Cyclades or islands of King Solomon, then there were promise in the voyage. But in pursuit of those far mysteries we dream of, or in the tormented chase of that demon phantom that some time or other swims before all human hearts, while chasing such o'er this round globe, they either lead us on to barren mazes, or midway leave us whelmed. And that concludes Chapter 52 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. So we're going to start next Saturday. We're going to do a stream next Saturday, I think. Stream next Saturday, not the Saturday after it. I think. But yeah. So next Saturday we'll start with Chapter 53. Orchestereo says, "Bravo!" Justin Toon says, "How do you play and read?" Practice! Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with how this stream went. We got 2 good recording segments in. We got the Etho thing, and we got the intro to the next episode. And we combine that with a little bit of time-lapse and getting this pond in, and hey, you got a YouTube video. Okay. Part of the problem with this next video, though, is that the reason that I was working on the pond instead of on the roads was because I needed something to distract me until Etho finally got me those 20 stacks of frog lights. But now that Etho has gotten me those 20 stacks with the frog lights, I'm like, I want to go back and work on the roads right away. So we might just leave this pond a pit for a bit. I don't know. Because, like, actually properly filling this pond is going to be a whole thing. Like, just getting this stuff cleared out is progress. But, like, I don't know. I'm leaving stuff half-finished all around here constantly, which I don't love. So, Wandering Mask says, this is honestly so cool. I've never been able to pick up Moby Dick because the size intimidates me and I lose focus too fast. I'm glad to get to experience it now. Thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad. Yeah, it's a very all-over-the-place book. I would say, though, don't try to read an abridged version because the point of Moby Dick as a novel is how bonkers it is. Like, if you strip out all the extra stuff, you lose everything that makes the book interesting or special. Glass and Pain says, right, Wandering Mask, I'm so glad Joe decided to do this. Audrey Holt says, it's a digital copy, right, that you're reading from? It is. I'm reading the Project Gutenberg one, the same one that I linked for y'all. I do have a physical copy in the room with me, but I don't have a good setup where it wouldn't be bumping the microphone stand. And I couldn't play Minecraft while reading the physical one. If I wanted to read the physical copy, I'd have to hold it in front of me, and it would be a whole thing. So we would lose the kind of fun Minecraft element to these Saturday night readings if we did that. Etho left the game. Goodbye, Etho. Sleep well. He's probably not going to sleep. He's probably going off on adventures. Woo! Have fun, Etho. On your adventures. Glass and Pain says, Joe is culture. Thanks. Etho's back. Yay. Etho's back and there's gonna be trouble. Hey, ya. Hey, ya. Etho's back. Okay. Just tossing stuff into chests at this point to get it out of our inventory so we can be on our way. Da, da, da. Etho's Amazing Adventures in Canada. Brought to you by Moose. Moose. Don't hit one. Not even with a car. Oh no, we're out of the range of the beacon now. That's a problem. How far do we have to go to be back in range? Okay, now we're back in range, so that's good. You know what I forgot to do is I forgot to get more iron from Hypno for another beacon base, which we are going to sorely need over here. I can tell you that. Okay, let's go ahead and do last call for tips. I'm going to be wrapping up the stream in about 3 minutes. So, just as a reminder, this is a viewer-supported stream. I'm going to be taking over a week off next month for my honeymoon and wedding. Any extra help that y'all want to send my way would be appreciated, since when you work for yourself, you don't get paid vacation. You just eat through your savings. And we're spending a lot of my savings on other expenses like immigration filings and things like that. So, yeah, it would be fantastic if folks wanted to chip in. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Okay. So a few more minutes left in the stream. Alice, thank you for tipping 5. That gets us now 15 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Appreciate it, Alice. Dun, 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 dun. Can I reach these up here? Oh, good. I was a little worried that I had dug too greedily and deep here. Wouldn't be the first time. I played Dwarf Fortress. I know how it is. Yeah, so it's probably not a great sign that when he asked the other ship if they'd seen the white whale, the guy was so startled he dropped his speaking trumpet. Okay, I feel like we're not picking things up, but we clearly still are. I'm kind of surprised there's not a Doctor Who episode where he has to stop Guy Fawkes from blowing up the Parliament. No. Where, like, but it's like, oh no, this is a fixed point, or, like... But, like, maybe the companion is an alien who doesn't know the history of Guy Fawkes Day, and, like, gets really involved somehow. I don't know. I do like the idea of, like, Doctor Who events that, like, a lot of times when Doctor Who visits very important historical events, the show approaches them with, like, from the point of view of, oh, the companion remembers this and knows how it goes, and the Doctor has also heard of it, because it's such an important event. But it would be really funny if there was, like, an event where everybody knows exactly how it happened, but the Doctor and the companions got there and were like, I don't know what the heck this is. Like, because maybe in their timeline it hadn't happened yet, or whatever. Is that... But, like, it would be an interesting Doctor Who episode where... where they show up and Guy Fawkes wants to blow up the Parliament, and they're just like, huh, well, obviously he didn't succeed because we would have heard about it, right? Or maybe they covered it up. Well, I don't know. Like, where the viewers are just like, no, what? That's weird. Nola says, like, if he showed up in the American Civil War and didn't know America had a Civil War. I mean, he doesn't spend a lot of time in America. Maybe he doesn't know that. Yeah, that would have been fine. What? America had a Civil War. And the other companion is just like, I don't even know what an America is. I'm from space Spain. We don't have that here. Yeah, lots of planets have a Spain. Kai says, I'd love it if there were more alien companions. There was a Ninth Doctor thing like that kind of during the London Blitz. Interesting. I know the episode you're talking about, but I don't think that's exactly what we're... It's not the same thing. There's a Diana Wynne Jones book about that, funnily enough. Do you know... What's the book called? Witch Week. Interesting. Axel says it's pretty different from what you described. They played it for one joke and then dropped it. Oh, okay. No, yeah, I'm talking about like an entire episode. Okay. Bum 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 bum. Do do do. I might have actually read that book, Wandering Mask, when I was a kid. Was that book around, like, in, like, 1996? I might have read that book, the way you're describing it. It's about boarding schools. I remember Guy Fawkes shows up in there. I think they, like, do something where they enchant a rake or something to mess with the groundskeeper. I might be completely off. But yeah, that actually does sound really interesting. Came out in 82. Yeah, then I have read that. Okay, so I might have accidentally ripped off elements of this book without realizing it in my pitch there. Sorry to Diane Wynne-Jones, then. Okay. We can sculpt this more later, but the core concept here is sound. Okay. Ba, 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 da, da. It does sound like a very Discworld plot. Okay. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about this area. I don't want to use a bunch of rockets to explore it because we're low on rockets. Bum, bum. Bum, ba. Okay. Wow, we managed to burn through one entire shovel. Oy. Those shovels, man. They go. Okay, so... I mean, we haven't cleared this entirely out in one stream. But we made a pretty good push. Yeah, this is not a bad attempt. Whew. Okay, so doesn't look like we're gonna do one hard refresh on Patreon, or not Patreon, on PayPal. Doesn't look like any tips have rolled in. That's okay. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't miss thanking anybody. So thank you to everyone who hung out and enjoyed Moby Dick with us tonight. That was a lot of fun. I always enjoy getting stuff done and sharing a novel with y'all. I look forward to it all week, and then on Saturday night, as I'm about to start the music for the stream, I'm like, oh wait, no, it's Saturday. One day I'll be good at this. Wait, Diane Wynne Jones wrote the novel of Howl's Moving Castle? Oh, okay. A lot of things are coming together for me. Thank you, Wandering Mask, for clarify or mentioning that. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I haven't read Howl's Moving Castle, the novel yet, but I've been meaning to. But yeah, that's interesting knowing that it's by an author I've already read something from, even if it was like back when I was a child. So, Nola says, thanks for streaming, Joe. I actually also enjoyed Howl's Moving Castle, the novel, more than the movie. Yeah, I really want to get to it. I just haven't. Wandering Mass says, the novel is a very different story, but equally good to the movie. So if you like the movie, you'll like the story in the novel, too. It's just a different story. Redpan28, first-time chatter coming out of the woodwork to say, I love Howl's Moving Castle. It's a great book. The Minta says it's my favorite Ghibli film. Nice. Okay, so let me pull up what's going on out in the broader world. Is the Northwest Pinball Championship still going, or did they just end? Let's find out. Okay. They don't have points in for... It looks like they're setting up the rig. This might be finals. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and raid the Geek Gamer TV coverage of Northwest Pinball Championships. Escher's there, Luke is there, all sorts of great pinball players. When you get over there, our raid message is, howdy y'all, Joe Hills raid here. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring. Stop streaming, stop in the stream.